5 Lambos in a row, and 2 road trucks, and 3 of them new ghosts. Everybody got Paddocks and Richards and APs. Everybody boss around her, just not me. You ain't a leaf on this tree, you a branch, nigga. What's more valuable than the money? The stamp, nigga.
Welcome to Politics with the Princess. We've been off for like 2 weeks because of the weather. So you're watching Politics with the Princess live on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. You can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all social media platforms. We urge you to like, share, comment, and subscribe. You can also call in at 313-355-6018. We want to hear from you. Of course, we're going to talk about politics, which is like huge nationally, locally, statewide right now. We have a special guest in the house. We have my great friend, Dwight Harris, in the house. Johnny will try to join us locally. He's doing some very powerful things where he will try to chime in if the internet and all that good stuff allows. But we are here. Welcome, Dwight.
What's up, sis?
I'm so happy you stuck with us.
Thanks.
Because the last 2 weeks we weren't able to come. So first we really got to get into all these hot topics that have been going on, and your view, you can just say however you feel about it. So we're going to start with my brother, my lovely brother Jules Jones, who I am very proud of, State Rep Jules Jones, who finally just took a plea deal to move things forward in order for him to get back to work, and now we're back to work. What do you think about Jules Jones? Have you ever met him?
I've met him. He's a friend.
He's a friend.
He's a friend. I believe, I think more inclusive. When I think about inclusiveness, I think about the community taking responsibility.
True.
Taking responsibility for ourselves and our actions and what we do.
He did.
That we do. Although he was trying to explain himself in the beginning, which we always advise not to.
We always advise.
Not to
Who is the we? Who is the we?
Well, I mean, in legal terms, because you could say that you never know what's right on the other side, what's there for you. And so with this, I'm glad that it turned out to be just.
Right.
Not in nobody's favor, but that it was just.
He wrote 2 letters. He's a young guy. He still has his whole life ahead of him.
Yeah.
I'm just so proud that he said, let me move on. I have to be done with this. I gotta move on. I believe it's 2 years probation, and things get dropped off of his record, which I'm not concerned about. I know he'll be okay.
And what's the thing is that we have to stand behind each other. Like, we watch people stand behind themselves, family, political platforms, whatever. No matter what it is a person do, not that we okay.
Not that we okay with it, we gotta let them know they got a support system.
Right.
Because what I notice is that African American people will just throw you away instantly.
Yeah, we drop each
But
other.
it's a group of people that stand behind their own. Yeah. And what I did was I told him I'm always standing with him. That's how I am. I still with you from the beginning. I still with you with your highs and your lows. Yeah. Not that I agree with everything you do, but you need that person next to you that's going to stand with you. Standing with somebody is not condoning what they do. Yeah. It's letting them know that you are there for them.
And you could correct them. Like, if you have courage, people have to have courage and not do things based off of fear or some type of intimidation. And if you don't feel that way, then you have the wherewithal to say what you need to say to a friend. Like
the truth. Like some people act like your friend, they're not gonna tell you the truth. Yeah, but we have those conversations where we are very open and honest, and we tell each other when we're wrong, when we're right. So that's a friend to me. Tell me when I'm wrong and tell me when I'm right. Okay, and so I want you guys can chime in on WJZZ Cool TV. You can put your thoughts and stuff under there, comments. If you have a comment on Jules Jones, I know a lot of people was like, "Oh, let him fry. He deserve it." Everybody deserves a second chance. He's young. He's lived, and I'm just so happy that it's time. You know, he came to a decision on his own, and it's time to move on.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about that.
And we have to keep our mind on social justice when it comes to things that we do.
Yeah.
And where they come from, where do the behaviors stem from.
Where does my
And it's not all the time intentional or malicious. Sometimes
it wasn't malicious. No, it wasn't intentional or malicious at all.
And environmental, a lot of different things that leads to mental health issues and all those things. So not to say that we okay people's behavior, but we have to relook at a lot of the ways that we judge people and things that we judge in the community. Because as we can see, we judged them wrong. A lot of the judgments were wrong. For example, wrongful convictions.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't, when you look at the case, it just was all wrong what happened. But I'm just happy that now he is closed. He gets to move on and continue all his good work, because he does a lot of good work throughout the state of Michigan. For the city of Inkster, but throughout the state of Michigan. Let's move on to national politics. Yeah. So I don't know if you've been watching the news, CNN, Fox News, all of that. Biden polling has dropped. Yeah. 41%, only 41% approve of how he is handling his presidency. Only 41%, which means 58% disapprove. Which is like huge. That means 58% of people like literally disapprove. The other thing is 39% of Americans approve. Only 39% approve of how he's handling the COVID thing. Only 39%. Neither of their own parties, which means the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, want Biden or Trump to run for re-election. They'd rather have somebody new. That says a lot right now. When I don't know if you know, we're in midterms, which means we're picking a whole new congressional house in D.C. And so how the president polls look affect the different states and how we turn out. Yeah. When the president polls are high, we turn out, president polls are low. And most time people want a different, you would say, like Democrats in there, they might say, oh, give Republicans another try. I'm scared. How are you feeling with the landscape of politics? Do you think people are going to come out and like vote this year for the congressional seats and all that? Like, what is the energy you're feeling for? Well, I don't know. Are you Democrat or Republican? Or are you just... Okay. I gotta ask. You can be I have not...
Out my mouth. Okay. Ideology.
Okay. How do you feel... What is this environment right now to you for... How do you feel about the turnout?
I believe Biden administration inherited after COVID symptoms of people, and it has people feeling low, bad. We didn't get no more stimulus money, and because of that, a lot of that affects the way people react, their actions, their characteristics. Violent crime is on the rise, especially here in Detroit.
I heard that.
We're having more domestic violences in the homes because of people are made to be close where they couldn't go anywhere else. A lot of children are being, even in the CSC cases and cases where children are being taken out of their homes for a lot of reasons the last 4 or 5 months. So you think
people are so distracted with one? Yeah. Inflation is super high.
Yeah.
So we got inflation that's like super high. People are trying to feed their families. They're so distracted that the last thing they probably think about is voting.
So, and then not only that, you got to look at people had spent a lot of money during COVID with a lot of these relief and stimulus packages, where they had bought a lot of food trucks. You see a lot of businesses.
Oh, okay.
When you look at it,
right.
But now you see people are trying to sell those things because nobody has money to buy
what
like,
they
today.
the business.
Nobody has money to right now. Today, people are scrambling looking for money. Crime is high because kids don't have money. You don't
have a job. When lack of jobs, crime is high. That's
Nobody has money. People have stopped working and they never went back to work, and so they're at home complaining. So no, they ain't not thinking about voting.
They're not. It's like they're thinking about surviving, which is scary because it can be a Republican wave. Like they said, it was a blue wave. I think it can. I believe it's going to be a red wave.
And I think we need to explain, like, the platforms, democratic platforms, and understand what liberalism is from a grassroots standpoint. I think that makes more sense.
I think today. People are confused even about redistricting.
Yeah.
It's just a lot going on right now. So I believe that too. 40, what I was going to say, so how do you feel about, I always ask African American males, how do you feel about a James Craig running for governor? Most males, let me just say, most males I've talked to are excited. First, they say they're excited that a black man is running. They say that. Then they get into the Democrat-Republican thing. But they are excited that they see a black man running. How do you...
A black man running...
Just a black man without party.
Okay. James Craig. That's something different.
Okay, tell me about James Craig. How you feel about it?
I never understood why he used to police himself, police the DPD the way he did. It's less to know he always had conservative views anyway.
Right.
So when I look at him, I say, all the things that he done with the city was conservative. He wasn't a chief to the community. Like a chief can go over people's house, talk to the grandma, let them know this and that, tell Pookie what not to do. I call Pookie the violent young guy in the neighborhood that nobody can handle.
Right.
And so, but it's like, now he's showing a whole different face. Like, how could you have stood on this side of liberalism with us? Now you stand on the Republican side, having supposedly total different ideas from.
Have you talked to him and heard his ideas?
No, I haven't. I haven't. But to get on an opposing side, and it's like splitting. You gonna split people's ideology, and people already don't have one.
People already don't have one. Because you have people in barbershops that just when they see his face up there, they're like, oh my God, a black man is running for governor. They're not into Democrat and Republican. I mean, you know about the Democratic Party, and you got to be a membership. Right. But honestly, I didn't learn about it. Like, you probably just learned about it. But when I first started politics, I didn't even know we had a Democratic, party where you got to be a member and all that stuff. I knew my mama was a Democrat, but I didn't know it was an organization that, you are members of. So I think the majority of people are not members of a Democratic Party, and they see that a black man is running for it.
So in response to what you're saying, I do have a thought, though. I understand what you're saying. My political ideologies now are so inclusive, diverse, as opposed to just diverse.
Right.
I do believe in diversity because I'm a minority.
Right.
Although I try not to identify with that, I just try to be able to do. I want to be able to do the same things the next person could do. I want to have the same opportunities as anybody else. And I want my children and children all of that having an inclusive ideology allows me to be able to have these ideologies coming from where I come from.
Right.
And I don't use that as an excuse, but my learning and my value of learning, and all the brothers you speak about that have came home from prison, and you start hearing our
oh my God,
about things and
Yes.
how we learn them and where we learned them at, I say that's inclusive. And being inclusive is the way we look at politics is going to be different.
It's different.
Because we were on the other side.
Yeah, I was on the other side actually working with both sides.
But we went through the system.
Y'all went
and we
through
felt
the system.
it too.
Yeah.
So for us to, like, even on the prison reform platforms now, when our ideologies, we talk about the Democratic Party and the liberals that sat on the bench and gave us all the time. Like, a lot of times we look at the detectives and a lot of things that occurred to us in the prison system, on the judicial system, but we got to remember who sentenced us.
Who sentenced
and
y'all?
who gave
Who put
us
y'all there?
all the time.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I liked about the precinct delegates and everything that you doing, Shoshana.
Hold on, before we get into what I'm doing, we want to let the people to know you can call in and comment. You're putting comments under. Call in so we can hear your comments. 313-355-6018. I am here with my boy Dwight Harris, who's going to tell you all about himself in a second. As soon as we finish our topics, we're just going to talk a little bit about Black history. You are watching Politics with the Princess live on WJZZ Cool TV. You can watch us on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all social media platforms. We want you to like, share, call in and tell your opinion about what's going on with the political landscape in Detroit, Michigan, nationally, whatever you want to talk about. And then before we get into precinct delegates, we need to talk about the importance, how important grassroots is in this election, just in Michigan, well, throughout the country. We always say it's important every year. This year is really important because you need a good ground game because of redistricting and all that stuff. You need to educate the people on all these things that are going on. And we have, because of redistricting, we have these crazy congressional races going on. What congressional district are you in? Are you 13, 14?
I'm 13.
And so, I don't know if you want to say have you chosen a candidate to support?
I have.
Is it Sherry? I know you love Sherry. I imagine that is former state rep Sherry Dagan Yoga.
I do.
And you love her, don't
Team
you?
Sherry.
You
But
better
not just the person.
Right.
It's what she do. Like, I'm looking
for people.
I'm looking at these last 2 years.
You've been supporting her for a while now.
But she been banging out though.
No.
For real.
No. I'm not saying that she hasn't. I know.
When we talk about I'm coming from a inclusive platform, which we talk about prison reform, which is different. That's why I call it inclusive. Sherry learned in the last 2 or 3 years all about that. Sherry has the language. Sherry understands. Sherry took time out all through the nights doing COVID, we virtual, remote, and everything. Not that nobody else didn't.
No, Sherry
but
was
she
on
had
those,
the most effective.
and all those emails.
She had the most
yeah.
effective platforms, and she had the right people on those platforms to have them conversations. We had guys calling from prison, and we having on all our phones, and they was able to hear.
I heard about those calls where y'all literally had guys calling from prison talking to state reps.
So she didn't have to do that though.
No, none of them have to do it.
So
but she did
doing that, she understood the language. She understood the language. It's all about the language and who has it in them to really deal with these issues, especially prison reform. We're not talking to have the heart and the courage to deal with guys that have been incarcerated. A lot of politicians shy away.
Don't even want to be in the room.
Even though they hear it, and certain people might be here. You see preachers and all that. A lot of them are pulling away.
They don't want to be in a room
because of stigma.
Yeah.
Because of stigma. Sherry didn't do that. And like you said right here, like who you with, that you don't do what they do. You doing your work.
You do your
don't
work.
Have nothing to do with a person do over there. And we do see those things in politics. People
so Sam Riddle,
right,
is a lot of people have been called. He's been called about getting in the race.
Right.
And so that is who I like. Out of everybody, like that's the one I have to look at. Who would I support out of the list of names in the race? I will support a Sam Riddle. Only because the seat was John Conyers. Sam Riddle knows the history of John, and I'm pretty sure others do. But what I like about Sam is his bluntness, his honesty, and if you heard his radio show, he don't even know how to pronounce my name, and when he's going off on me, he's saying my name wrong. But I respect certain things about him. So, but it's a lot of people in that race, which is scary.
So where do we from the grassroots?
Well, this is my
this
is my thing right here. Everybody want to get their petitions.
Okay.
So I'm not concerned until I don't consider anybody literally running, until they have their petitions turned in.
Right.
That's when it's time to be like, okay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then they have a week. They're going to have to decide, like, who are we going to back? Because if they don't get behind one person and back one person, and it's going to have to be a lot of pride let go. Because everybody wants to be the congressperson. But if they don't all do together, everybody say stakeholders getting together to decide. I think the group of people that said they're running and they all get their signatures need to sit down and pick the person in the group that they know can win, and pride be let go.
Yeah.
And they all drop out and get behind that one person and go.
Well,
they should do that now, but that's not going to happen now.
It's never been done.
It's never, or it's going to go to Sri Tanadar, 13.
So I'm saying.
It's going to go to Sri Tanadar. And then other thing, before we get to you, Janice Winfrey has entered Congressional District 17, 12th race to run against Rashida Tlaib, Kavanaugh, and it's another lady, Michelle Wooddale. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. But I think, and it's supposed to be a couple, I'm hearing there's a couple of African American women that are also supposed to jump in that race. I haven't, I don't want to say their names.
Sharon McPhail?
But I thought she was doing the 13th.
Right, with Sharon.
I heard she was doing the 13th.
But she hadn't really made no moves to her name.
So what I say is this. I think Janice, some people may like her, some people may love her. But her in that race, if she's the only black woman, is an issue for Rashida and Kavanaugh. Period. Point blank. Some people might don't believe it, but her name is powerful. I'm sorry, she's Janice Winfrey. Whether you like her, whether you love her, whether you hate her, whatever. She's, you know what I'm saying? But I think Rashida, with a ground game, working overtime, can pull it out. But she'll have to, Right. But I think if other black women jump in that race, that's gone. Especially if they're prominent black women. You know what I'm saying? Not just any black woman. If other strong black women jump in that race, it messes up Janice.
I believe prison reform, that's what's going to
you think that's going to be... What candidates don't know is this, and we about to put it out there. Let's get into prison reform.
Yeah.
3 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? I met you.
Yeah.
I met you, Daryl Woods, and all of you guys. But what you guys do is actually organize within the jail and outside of the jail. Y'all know the power of your vote. Y'all know in Michigan that when you guys come out, y'all have the power to vote.
Yeah.
And you guys are spreading that to everybody. And you guys have built a coalition. But what candidates don't know is that constituent group actually lies there. They shy away from it. Which is, let's say, the dumbest shit ever. Yes, I did cuss. Because you got these group of, like Daryl and you, I saw working with the NAACP, actually taking them to vote. And then going inside of the jails, not just signing them, registering them vote, actually voting. They were able to vote in jail and bring the ballots out. That's powerful right there. But you have candidates that are not hooking up with you guys, are not understanding your power, and just like ignoring it. Only some do, like a Rep Sherry. That's a whole constituent group. And I often tell, like, instead of just the senior, you got the senior group. You got the black woman vote. Yeah. You got the white woman vote. But you got the returning citizen vote.
Yeah. And so
that's powerful.
And we have been honing in on that, learning how to collaborate with our organizations. Something that we haven't been able to do thus far, because one think they doing something better than the other. Some I always talk about
That's what any group.
That we don't want to reinvent the '60s, because if we're not careful, we'll do the same thing. But this is the new '60s. A lot of the issues that we were dealing with in the '60s have uprooted today in different languages.
Actually, I feel like we're going back in time.
Yeah.
I feel like we're being stripped. I feel like because we're not studying, I always tell people, I love history. I love studying history. Because if you do not study it, it does repeat itself. Yeah. And I feel like as African Americans, just with the John Lewis bill, we're getting stripped slowly. And it's like, what's going to happen? We're not going to really step up and unite all together until we're completely stripped. Like, we're getting stripped. And there, it's like it's rewinding back in time.
Right.
Again, it's scary when you actually look at it.
So it's the fact that we won't acknowledge who we are. We won't respect the standards in America.
We don't respect the past.
Yeah, we
don't respect people who came before us.
Yeah.
Some people be like, oh, they didn't do nothing. Guess what? They had to do something to even move you closer to where you are.
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot of disrespect.
Yeah, and so it's like when I started understanding about the vote is when I came home, like 10 years ago, when I voted for Obama.
Oh.
And so I respected it because of all the standing in the line. Like I didn't, just the feeling of.
How long did you have to stand in line?
For a minute. Yeah, I stood for a while, even though I was early. But the fact that this meant a lot. Like what, and then the fact that he had won again, right? He was reelected. But it just let me know that this is the standard. This is a part of the standard. If you say you're an American citizen, this is what you must do. This is your civic duties.
Right.
Is to vote. So a lot of the guys that's coming home from prison, because we were raised, we raised ourselves in there, you know.
Right.
And we understood that we just learning how to apply it now.
Right.
We do understand that we have a block, because we've been talking about it for like 5 or 6 years now. But now that we have a lot of different guys that's home that can make it happen, we are leaning towards that block by integrating with each other and working with each other to make it make sense, you know. Nobody else can explain prison reform but those who
actually lived through it.
Who was in it.
No, that's the thing about that. Nobody can tell you anything. Like, you have people in Lansing making laws about stuff they've never experienced, never met anybody that experienced it. Yeah. It's always good to have somebody at the table that actually walked through it and experienced it, because they can tell you what's best for the system or for the person. Yeah. You can't tell me anything about having a baby if you've never had a baby. Yeah. You can't tell me about the pain. You can't describe the pain. You can't describe the pills I got. You can't describe anything. I can't relate to you. I can't tell you anything about getting shot if I never got shot. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell somebody about something or make laws and stuff for them if you've never experienced it. So, I do think that you are right about that one thing right there. I don't know what people calling me, and they know I'm here this year. But yeah, you can't. So I agree with that. We also have the issue of we're going to probably and possibly lose the Detroit caucus. And what I mean by the Detroit caucus, you know, we have African American Detroit state reps, right? Because of redistricting and how the lines are drawn. Seats. I don't think the Supreme Court made a decision on the state rep races yet. I know that they said the congressional lines will stay as they are. Yeah. But for the state rep race, it appears, I'm trying to think, I know Elena Scott may be running against somebody in Oakland County. I don't know if Stephanie Young is, but she has Ishmael Terry in her race. I know Roy McAllister has just jumped in the race. District 6, newly District 6, and it goes out to Oakland County. You got District 3 that'll go out to Oakland County. You have Senate districts that will go out to Oakland County, which African American state reps and senators will have to run against Oakland County people who are great at raising money. And most of our African American, most, not all, have not fundraised and don't have like the big banks like some of the Oakland County reps and senators, which Detroiters may be represented by somebody in Oakland County in some of these races. Yeah. I'm thinking that with you have the current District 5, I forgot what the new district will be, is going to go with, you have Tyrone Carter in Rep. Cynthia A. Johnson running against each other. So we know that would be African American. And you got Karen Woodsett, who most likely will maintain her seat. But what would the Detroit caucus look like if the lines stay where they are? We'll talk about that in 1 second. You are watching Politics with the Princess on WJZZ Cool TV. You can watch us live on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and all social media platforms. We want you to call in at 313-355-6018 and place your comments. This is the coolest station around.
For sure.
For sure, it is. So what would like the Detroit caucus, the makeup look like? That's the crazy part. Like, that's stripping us. If the Supreme Court says the lines stay as they are drawn, that's scary. You won't have an African American probably representing you.
Well, we already knew this when people was moving out of Detroit. I mean, if they moving out of Detroit, we ain't gonna handle
the issue with redistricting, you know, it goes by the census. True. And the issue with the census is that a lot of people still live in Detroit. They just changed their address for insurance purposes.
True.
Which messes up the count.
But there's that many people, though.
Yeah, we have a caller. Caller, welcome to Politics with the Princess. How are you today?
I am great. Hey, Tashana, it's your girl Sarah here calling from Marquette.
Hey, Sarah, all the way from up north.
Right.
Sarah is going to give us the COVID update from Marquette. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on up there?
The numbers overall in Marquette County, I know, are going down. They're still high. Last I checked, the test positivity rate was around 19%, which it's still high, but it's dropping.
So how do you feel about Michigan drops the recommendation for masks in schools and indoors?
I actually, I don't like that. I think we need to maintain it for a little while longer.
I think it's political.
If it's a crowded classroom, I mean, if you've got a crowded room, you need to have those masks on. Because the CDC is still recommending in crowded areas wear your mask. I wear my mask to the gym.
Oh, you have to wear it in the gym. You have to. Yeah.
Not up here. Really?
You need to wear it in the gym. Yes, you do. No, I'm saying it's not required, but I will wear it in the gym.
I'm the only one in my class working out with an N95 on, and let me tell you, it's a trip.
Wow.
Can't breathe.
Wow, but no, you grow to breathe. Because at first I couldn't breathe while wearing it in the gym. And I had to grow to breathe because the gym is so much sweat on machines and so much sweat on people. It's just, and I try to go early where nobody's there. Like I used to like to do 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. It's empty. And then people start coming in at 8.
I go to actual classes, but
I don't do classes.
I did not wear it during my class because there was only like 6 of us there. But when we get like bigger groups, like 8, 10 people, I'm like, okay, I'm putting it on now. Because we're currently experiencing an outbreak of COVID at the nursing home where I work. Half of my residents are over on the quarantine wing right now.
Wow. So I would say I will urge people to still keep their masks on. I think the mask thing is political. I'm saying that loud.
It is.
I think Democrats are now, jumping on a bandwagon because they need votes. And a certain group of constituents were getting pissed off at them because of the schools and my child got to wear a mask and all that stuff. I think it's vote related. I think it's political because all of a sudden, okay, let's just drop it. That's what I personally think. I don't know. I think it's that. I think I choose to wear my mask.
I do too. And when people come into my nursing home to visit their loved ones, they are supposed to wear an N95. We have them available when they walk in. However, I walked by somebody's room the other day, and they were there visiting a resident, and they had their mask off. I went to get a supervisor, and she asked, did you say something? I said no, because if I do, I'm going to lose my job.
Wear your mask, Sarah.
Whether it's political or not,
I'm learning that people make these huge decisions concerning the lives of people because of politics. Period. It's about the vote. It's midterms.
Oh, and they do.
It's midterms. People are pissed at how Biden is handling it. They need votes. White women are upset about the school system, and some black women. And okay, y'all don't have to wear masks. Okay, we'll give you what you want for the vote. That's how I see it. Because I don't understand it. COVID is still out there. People are still dying.
It very much is.
I think you should still wear a mask. So that's how I look at it.
Absolutely.
I don't
you wear one in public, that's one thing. But you go into a nursing home to visit somebody, you wear that.
I think in school, that's close quarters. In school, that is close quarters. You need a mask on. Period. Point. Like, that's close. Like, kids are like right next to each other. I think you need a mask.
Kids are germ magnets. I worked at a daycare for like 5 years. Kids are germ
magnets. I used to teach, and they're germ magnets. I used to always get sick at the beginning of school. I used to always get sick. And then you don't know how many different type of strands there are out there. We don't know. We don't know what they tell us.
Yeah.
You don't know how many strands there are. So I'm wearing a mask.
I'm like cautiously optimistic because numbers are going down. However, I have to wear my N95 until the positivity rate for my county drops below 10%. It's at 19 right now. So we still have a ways to go. But I want to stay optimistic. But if people aren't diligent, it's going to go back up again.
I know. So, Sarah, can you stay on the line? Because I want you to meet my very good friend, Dwight Harris, who I met 2 years ago.
Probably just a little bit longer. Because
I met in his Black History Month. And before we do anything, because I met Dwight through a very special person that we both, oh my God, hold up high. So you got to hear this, Sarah. His name is Ray Solomon. And Ray Solomon, I know all of Michigan knows him. I know y'all know him. And you can call in and say great things about Ray Solomon. Ray Solomon was one who took young people up under his wing and coached you every day. It was another one who called you every day early in the morning, telling you what to do, what not to do. Like the way to go, history. It was a history lesson every morning with Ray. You like, why do I got to listen to this? Why do I have to listen to about the stories about Coleman Young and this, that? But you figure out why later. And so Ray tells me you have to meet this guy. This new guy you got to meet him. And it was this guy, Dwight Harris. I forgot. Did he bring you to my office? Where did we meet?
No, we met
at an event or something?
Yeah, when Danny Glover and Cornel West.
Oh, when I had that event. I hosted an event with Danny Glover, Cornel West, and Nina Turner, who I love. And that's where we met. And since then, I have been very impressed with Dwight. I want Dwight to tell us what he does, because he does some amazing things with helping when people come home from being sentenced. You help them. They come out of 30, 40 years. I remember the guy that was there 40 years came home and you just put him in your arms. But we have to uplift Ray Solomon first, who was this black, oh my God.
Pops.
I would not be here without Pops. Avenel Hogan. Elmer Stone. I mean, the list goes on. We were blessed.
Yeah. He Pops to me. That's when I think about Pops. I do think about a lot of his children.
Everybody was his
I know his children.
Children.
I'm talking about all his extended children. And it was a lot. And so, me knowing Pops allowed me to meet
All these people.
And I met, it was them, but it was a lot more.
It was a lot more.
And I was with Pops every day.
Every day, driving with him every day.
Every day for like almost 4 years. And I did everything, like whatever he wanted me to
whatever
do.
he wanted.
He'll have me do a lot of stuff. Take this here, do this, just meet people. But some of the things that, like, I know who he cared about. Like, because, you know, I'm with him every day.
You know you with him. You heard the talking.
I know about all the mornings. He got a lot of children that he spoke to in the morning. That's the only time
he would go through the list, and you would get your morning educational call. About whatever's on his mind. Like he is the one that started. And this lady, I love her to death. Coleman Young's mother.
Right.
Ivory. And he loved her. And Pops loved her.
At the center, right?
Yeah, like Coleman Young's mother. And he educated me on her before I met her.
Yeah.
And when I met her, she lived up to what when I met her, I felt like I already knew her.
Yeah.
But just the history of him working with Coleman Young, and he was telling me to lay out of powerful women that are known to create things that people didn't, the women behind the scene. Yeah. And like he just was, I don't know, it's not people, you cannot find somebody these days that actually takes you under their wing and just pours into you. Nowadays, nobody don't want you to be, I don't know what to call it, bigger than them, whatever. So they claim to take you under their wing and they hold you there, so you got to be careful so you won't grow.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, you're not ready for that. No, you're not ready for that. He used to push me. Yeah. Go do this, daughter. Go do that. Yeah. You should do it. Go do that. Yeah. Do it. And he would educate you on how to do it and make you go do it. And I was blessed to have a number of people like that around me. Everybody not blessed, because you get those hinderers that hinder you. So let's tell us about you, how he inspired you to do what you do and the great things that you do.
So I've always was an advocate, but meeting Pops was more like, he was an advocate, but he was so much more than an advocate. He was like just Ray Solomon. Like,
he was Ray Solomon, but everybody knew him. He was so popular.
He walked slow. This my man though. Now I can talk.
He was old,
but this is stuff I used to say to him.
Hey, Tashana.
Hi, you got to go back to work.
Yeah.
Okay, we love you.
Peace out, but all right. Thank you for letting me talk. I appreciate
See you next Friday to give us another update.
I will.
Okay.
Amazing.
Bye.
Pops used to some of the things he used to say to me that stick out.
Oh, he'll tell you off too.
I'm black as coffee. Like when it come to issues, to understand the issues. Because I always ask, what you talking about? What you mean? What you mean? And he'll look at me, what you mean? Because I ask because I want to know. And he'll just say, he'll sit back. He say, I'm black as coffee.
You look just like him doing.
So what hey, look. You know when Pops hey, listen. So he say, I said, well, what you mean by that? He say, it's nothing but black, because he could tell you so much stuff about
much black
all the other
history. History of Detroit and how it became. He would tell you about the Kavanaughs, like everybody history. And it was just so, that's what I'm saying. Like people always say, well, how did you get so far so quick? Listening.
Yeah. He said,
you just sit back and listen to the right people. And they tell you it makes your road easier, your path easier, and all that stuff. Listening, because they telling you the stories. They telling you the good, the bad, what to do, what not. How the failures are the most important. So you can, if you know how somebody failed, you can tweak it to win. Stuff like that. And that's how listening and just chilling and listening to these greats. And he was the great.
Nah, he was great. You would have to see him to know him to really. I mean, you can only hear the expression of it from us.
Yeah.
But Pops, man.
We should do something called Pop's Children.
I'm talking
because he touched so many and so many people that he had under his wing, and he would make sure that we all meet each other.
Now this is a true story. So it was this one man, just a stature in the community. I didn't know that was Pop's son, but I was with Pops one day, and then he said, "Did you meet?" He always go ask me, "Do I know somebody?" He know I don't know. Do you know him?
Well, let me tell you about him.
Do you know her?
Let me tell you about him. He was a this and a that and a that. You gotta watch this. So you're watching Politics with the Princess on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. You can watch us on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and all social media platforms. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. You can also call in, or like we said, comment under the Facebook, or even on YouTube. And so we are talking a little bit about Black history, and our Black history spotlight is going to Ray Solomon. We'll call him the Great, right? And that's how myself and Dwight Harris met. But Dwight, before you go on, tell us what you actually do, which is so much. I don't know how you classify that.
So
how do you classify? When people ask me what I do, it's hard to describe.
It's your passion, right? You just a natural.
I just do.
Because people that go to school and figured it out can explain it real good.
But guess what though? I went to college, right? University of Michigan. I'm a University of Michigan graduate. Number of degrees, most of them I don't even list. But you don't have to go to school to find your passion. I had to really realize that.
Yeah.
I'm not even doing what I went to school for. Yeah. Which is crazy. Yeah. But yeah, like, your passion is, and like I tell everybody has a gift.
Yeah.
And so your gift right now that I see is you have taken your experience but reached back and helped people that, you know, when you came out of prison
10 years ago,
you hit the ground running.
Yeah.
But you welcome anybody that's coming out. You help them get on their feet.
True story.
That's powerful. Because they lost when they get out. I had a daddy that had to get out, and I had to every time, because, you know, they go back because some of them go back because it's different out here, right?
Right.
But every time he got out, I had to be there to help clothe them, feed them, set them up. Get your social security card, get your birth certificate. It's a whole process. And how to get back normal from being on the time clock. Being told what to do, when to do, and how to do it.
True.
But you do that for them.
Yeah.
And that's exhausting, that's draining, but it's necessary.
Yeah. It's what I did in prison.
Really? So tell us.
So in prison, I was Morris American. I'm still a Morris American. But what I liked about Morris Science was that I was able to learn more about myself. Like, I never had met a religion or was in a religion. I grew up in Christianity. That had taught me nothing about myself.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to find myself, because I always was hurting myself.
You was always hurting yourself.
Finding myself in bad situations that I had to deal with.
But you wouldn't have been there if you loved yourself.
Yeah, but I wanted to know how I could make a change, though. And so it comes from my studies and talking to people in prison that I decided to do something different. In doing that, it allowed me to study a lot of different things. And my study, for the most part, was philosophy, esoteric philosophy.
Philosophy is amazing to study.
And esoteric philosophy I studied for like 15 years. And
wow.
And so all those studies and all those reads, all those times I was in segregation, and I put that in there because if it wasn't for segregation, I would never learn how to read effectively. Well, I learned how to read.
To understand.
Yeah, because that's all I had was time, and all I did was read. Because I got tired of looking at the TV or listening to the radio. You got too much time to be in the cell 23 hours a day like that for year in, year out to watch TV or listen to the radio. So I had learned how to read, and learning how to read I started taking to more philosophy and literatures from philosophers and stuff like that. In doing that, along with reading all kind of different religions, right?
All kind.
And
all
biographies.
Kind. Yeah.
I want to say biographies really structured me because it was things that I liked it about a lot of people that I took out, and the stuff I didn't, I just threw it away. But I read so many different autobiographies because I wanted to understand about people and how I can actually make a change in my life coming through the system that wasn't teaching me anything. All these things were self-initiated things that I've done on my own during my time. No, everybody don't do that though.
Everybody don't do that.
Everybody don't do that.
They find other times to do.
And I believed in what I was studying and learning, and I wanted to be different. So that's what makes me who I am. To still
so you're
be myself.
Very clear.
But yeah.
That's the thing that I always tell people too.
Yep.
The hardest thing you can do is look in the mirror and discover who you are. You have to do it. Because if you know who you are, you know your value.
Yeah, right.
You know what you're going to endure and what you're not going to endure. Because some people think by standing next to somebody that makes them amazing.
True.
I know I'm amazing by standing alone.
True.
I know who I am. I was me before I stood next to this person. I was me while standing next to this person. I'm me without standing next to this person. Once you know your power and you know that you hold the power just like anybody else.
Right.
It's so amazing. You can do anything you want. And that's but it's about really knowing yourself. So if I have to let people know about an event that is like totally coming up, and I really think that you should go. It is called Detroit Vibes in Scribes. It's Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. March the 4th to April the 22nd. It's free admission. And it's at the Hannah Center. WJZZ Detroit Jazz Radio is a sponsor, you guys. It's Michigan Association of Music Arts. And we will shout this out everywhere. You can go to Eventbrite to find the event to register. And yeah, that's the event that I'm going to attend from March the 4th to April the 22nd. Mm-hmm. Yep, I'm definitely going. Detroit Vibes and Scribes series. We gotta do a little video about this to get it out there a little more. But knowing who you are in closing, because we're about to close out, that I like the way we ending. Knowing who you are is a very impactful thing, which allows you to be in a room alone and be okay. Like, as long as you know who you are, nobody can tell you nothing about yourself or say nothing. Like, you don't even argue with rumors. You don't combat rumors. You don't question rumors. You don't know anything because you are consistent with yourself. Did you know who you are? That's a powerful thing, and most people don't know that. It's a weakness. They don't know. So they spend time arguing and say, oh, I didn't do this. Oh, that ain't what it is. Oh, that's not true. You don't ever hear me saying that. I don't care. Because you have to know who you are. And once you do have that confidence, people is another thing. People have to realize people are going to always lie on you. I don't know why that happens. It's just what they do. Some people don't have anything to do.
Right. And your study has to be deep. It's the Badiah study. Cornel West talk about.
I love Cornel West. Oh, he
came. Have to study. You have to study. It's a deep study to knowing yourself in order to actually do the work.
Yeah.
Like if you don't know yourself, there's no way you can line with the work of other people because you just doing you.
You have to study, like you say. You have to be a study of people.
Yeah.
Sometimes most times you have to stand in the back of the room and just watch the room. That's just studying people.
Yeah.
When I used to first start in politics and I go to meetings, like still now to this day, I like to just sit in the back of the room. Right. I don't like to be up front in the room. I hate being called to the room to even speak and say words. Right. I want to be in the back, seeing how everything moves and how people connect with one another. Because that lets you know a lot without even knowing. Actually, Ray used to come in and sit in the back
all the time
and watch the room and watch who folks are talking to, who they say they don't like and don't talk to.
All the time. All the time. All the time. No, I was with Pop every day for some years now.
So it's just life is. You have to be okay with your life and who you are. As long as you okay with your life and who you are, you can make it through anything.
Yeah. You ain't gonna be worried about.
You don't care.
Yeah.
You literally walk through the world not caring.
So here's the fire right here, right? And you got work to do. You walk through the fire. Like if you worry about it, you gonna stand.
You gonna stand and just be worried about your damn.
Step. You gonna be like this.
You keep moving.
You can't do that.
Keep moving.
If you could go around it, you go around it. But if not, you can just walk through it.
You just walk through it with no
faith.
problem.
Faith.
With faith and favor.
Yeah. You can't be worried about what it's gonna do to you
Once
if you go through
realize
that.
nobody on this earth can touch you. Nobody, let me repeat that. Nobody on this earth can touch you or bring you harm.
Yeah.
You can do anything.
None of God's creation, even the fire, right, can do nothing to you.
Can't do nothing.
Especially not no mortal man.
Not
no
more.
man that
there
was
we
put
go.
together.
Amen.
He can't do nothing to you.
He can't do nothing.
Especially if you could walk through fire.
You can walk through it. So that's all I gotta say is, so thank you, Dwight, for coming. I appreciate you for coming. You welcome back next week to talk about all the amazing things you do.
My city.
We gonna leave out with like one of
House
my
on the
favorite artists.
riverside, round now
Who does what you do?
Niggas ain't seeing us. Let's take out
got
binoculars. I just left Privé, went to love, I'm
But
still
he
popping out.
also fights
Got it left
for